So in this video, I'm going to tour you through our four gardens. I'm going to take you through the high tunnel and then the two outside gardens. I'm going to give you my thoughts and my aspirations for next year. I want to get your thoughts on a couple areas that I don't really know about. And yeah, so if you've not been here before, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children, and we are trying to grow as much food as we possibly can. And some of it's a slow process and some of it's going quicker, but I am really pleased where we're at. So let's go check it out. So I didn't get out there yesterday to share what was planted in the high tunnel, but I'll try and give you a tour. So here are some things that I wouldn't mind getting planted in the garden that's outside, where we just pulled up all that garlic because I want to keep whatever I can for the longest period of time that I have. I have about 9.5 weeks, probably about 65, 63 days, something like that, before frost. So I'm only wanting to plant things that I'd be able to harvest within about that time, or start to harvest at least within about that time, and also things that are cold hardy. So kale will actually be cold hardy here. Spinach would be cold hardy here. Cucumbers, yeah, not so much. I don't know if I'm going to plant those or not. I had her plant in some of the other beds. I had her plant some plants. So I'm not sure. We may need to plant some more where I think we have a groundhog. I don't know. We saw something last night, but something keeps eating small plants. So we are trying to take care of that situation. Anyway, these are some things that I'm interested in planting outside this would be considered my fall garden. I would need to plant it now, which is, July 18th, I believe it is. I need to plant it like yesterday in order to get anything. So we are going to plant these things because we just pulled the garlic and we want to make use of the beds. So this is kind of my outside garden plan. So the potatoes are already here. The strawberries are all here. These ones have already strawberried and are there. So we'll end up filling in any of the empty spaces in the strawberry beds with strawberries later this season. Over here on the garden, we have cauliflower. These are already planted. Cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and then we have some beans along this trellis right here. The grapes are in the arbor up above here. And then on this side, some of the squash we have planted this side like 4 times. 2 beds have some squashes in them. So what we're going to do is just plant beets around where those squashes are. And then we are going to plant regular bush beans and beets in these 2 gardens. I'm hoping that planting beans will actually help that soil over there. But I think it's actually a gopher problem and not or whatever the heck we have. Groundhog. What the heck is that? I forget. I think it's a gopher. Anyway. The thing that's eating my plants. We are hoping that we are getting control of that. And so these 2 are going to get planted today. The 2 beets and beans somebody is planting right now. And then I have, these were all of these. Here were all garlic beds, and you saw me pull those up last week, or we were pulling those up last week. So I'm going to plant cabbage and beets in this, kale and beets in here, lettuce and radishes in that one, and then kohlrabi and carrots in the front there. I have some kohlrabi plants, so we're going to put those there. And then I'm going to talk to my daughter and see what she wants to do in these 2 beds here. But that's what the plan is so far. So we have those 2 beds that some of this stuff here could grow. I'm just going to talk to her and see what she wants to grow. So out of that whole shelf that we had full of plants, there was this and kohlrabi left. So these 2 we're planting outside. The rest are already planted in the high tunnel. And I'll show you that. So we snapped a bunch of beans last night, and then here my daughter has 7 quarts of green beans and then 6 quarts of green beans in the other one. think it's actually the heat that's just driving me crazy. I remember when I was young, I have problems with too much heat anyway, but when I was young, I remember I used to get I used to get heat stroke really easily. And I think that that's playing a part into just my energy level and such. It's frustrating and tiring, but it's been overly warm this summer. So as far as like a fall garden goes, a lot of the areas I can't actually grow 2 seasons outside. If I have squash in some place, everyone is so hot and tired. So anyway, as far as fall gardens go, what I do is I would count back however many weeks I have, and then I want to make sure that, and then I would make sure that I had enough days. So for instance, let me see, this right here, on the back here, it says 50 days to maturity. So if I have 63 days, then I know that I would be able to plant that and probably harvest some. If something said 63 to 70 days, I'd kind of be like taking a gamble, like, hey, is it really gonna frost on the day it's gonna frost, or whatever like that. For me, I'm okay to take a little bit of a gamble because I do have Agribond, which is like a fabric cover that goes over my plants. So if we were supposed to get a frost, I could cover things over that would might get a little bit of frost on them. But there's also things that don't mind frost too bad, like a light frost, not a hard frost. Things like greens, like spinach or kale. Kohlrabi doesn't mind a light frost. Cabbage doesn't mind a light frost. But things like tomatoes or cucumbers or peppers, they're gonna mind a light frost. So it's kind of like I'll think those things through and then make my decision from there. Like, hey, do I want to take a chance or don't I want to take a chance? And it depends. As far as like, I had cucumbers in this, and that's one of those things that normally I would not put them out this time of year and take a chance with them. So I think probably going to see, I did put some over in some other gardens, so I'm just hoping that those kind of take off. I think we've probably done, I don't know, around 50 to 60 quarts of bread and butter pickles so far. I definitely want to get more done. That said, we've done 50 to 60 quarts. So we'll just see how it goes. So it really depends, whatever area you are in, just looking at your seed packets and making decisions. So it's really up to you what you want to do and what you are choosing to do. I also have to take into consideration is when these things are getting ready to be harvested, I'm going to be getting ready to have a baby. And we don't know with this baby. Normally I wouldn't have an issue like not dealing with NICU and all that type of stuff. Like I wouldn't have an issue like planting things, because if I'm here I can like kind of oversee and be like, hey, can you check this or can you do this? Without that, I also don't want to waste my seeds and have food like rotting in the ground. So I'm being like cautious of what I'm actually planting there, and just thinking things through and deciding what I really want to tackle and what I don't want to tackle. Let's see what else to think about. So a high tunnel can actually, so I would plan my last frost date as 4 weeks after whatever my normal outside temperatures would be. So I would plan, if it's like, I think it's like September 25th or something like that. Maybe it's a little sooner. Maybe it's the 19th. I can't remember. Around the 20th, let's just say, is my last frost date. If my last frost date outside was that, then I would plan my last frost date in the high tunnel to be 4 weeks after that, or about a month after that. So around the 20th of October. That's just kind of how I've been planning things. But then again, you can always extend a little bit either way with your Agribond. So far in the high tunnel, I have planted broccoli and cauliflower that I started in here. And I have planted those, or my daughter actually has planted those into different beds out there as things have been harvested. So we harvested a bunch of greens that were starting to bolt. So we harvested that type of stuff and she planted those in there. So what I'll do after that, probably after I come back, is we'll probably have a huge harvest of things. We've done quite a few batches of beans from the high tunnel. So I'm thinking probably, I don't know, I'm thinking probably by the time we come back, that original row of the cucumbers will probably all need to get pulled. And then I'll put something in there. I'm thinking I'll put some more cabbages in there. And just as everything starts to dismal out, then I make decisions on how to fill that space with something that I can use. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to like say, well, this is my definite decision, because it really depends on the plants and what I plan to be doing with them at that point. I think the front bed up here that has the strawberries, I might actually transplant those strawberries into the other garden over there. Eventually, I kind of would like this other garden that I was just talking about. I would like that. We're gonna have to cut some of the trees out, and I know that we will. But eventually, I'd like to have it like permaculture, as far as like berries and bushes like underneath the fruit trees, and then like the strawberries around there. So we got a lot of strawberries this year for us, because we haven't had so many hot years with strawberries. But we can always use more strawberries. We can always use more raspberries, and they're perennials. So I'm trying to really build a sustainable system with all my berries like that, so that I'll have a prolonged period, and also not really a prolonged period. I'll be able to put a lot in the freezer, or can a lot, because then I won't have to buy them throughout the winter. It is something that I do buy throughout the winter. Blueberries I'm not too concerned about. I usually can buy wild blueberries, because we live wild blueberry area. I usually can buy them fairly inexpensive, or we trade some work for blueberries. So they harvest depending, but usually like every 2 years. So 2 years ago, we raked blueberries, and like there was a bunch of us in our family doing it. And then we received some berries, and I said instead of payment, they chose to pay us as well, but I would rather get the blueberries than the payment. So yeah, we can work out those types of things. So raspberries and strawberries are more of my focus. I also do want to plant a huge another section, I will share that with you later, of trees next year. So I'm going to share that with you guys, and just try to make that front tree garden work the best, and hopefully have the plants coming out the best, because they're really crowded in there, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Yeah, so I think that's about it. If you have any questions about fall gardens, it's really confusing up here, because there's not like a definite space as far as at this time, this is when you plant spring things, and at this time is when you plant fall things. It's more like, let's just hurry up, and as soon as something comes out of the ground, let's put something right back in it and keep that ground covered. That's more of like my philosophy on things. Look at the clouds. Aren't they cool? I don't know. I always think clouds are cool. We are heading out to the high tunnel, and I am going to give you a tour of the high tunnel. I do not plan on picking too much tonight, because we are going to be going camping in a couple days, and I'm just hoping I can be done until we come back. I know that sounds horrible. Yeah, been packing and doing all the things. Let me show you. Oh, if you have not been here before, welcome. Let's talk about my goals and aspirations right now. Okay, goal, I want to rip up all this weed mat in the center here, and then I want to try to build the soil in here and then put weed mat back down. But this spot right here is really low, and it gets low in the spring. I also, let me stand in that area. Hello, jungle. It has been way too hot in here for us to do any work. I also want to rip, I'm talking about let's do this like before the end of the year. I also want to rip all this up all that weed mat in the front there and redo it. It has been a couple years since we did it. Obviously, we're growing this down. Okay, these ones are turning on and these ones are turning off. So I'm kind of in the middle here. Let me go over here. Aren't these beautiful? I love zinnias. These are like my happy flower. So pretty. So I don't know. I think I'm going to need to get someone to water this section here. Some carrots are coming up in here, which is good. Oh, I guess we're gonna have to grab some of those cucumbers. Didn't I just say I wasn't going to come in here and think of things to pick? I was wrong. I was dead wrong. We're gonna need to pick some things, but I'll point them out to you. Okay, so I'm trying to decide which way to go. I think what I'm gonna do is come along this way. Whoa, and share with you. So these strawberries in this front bed here, I actually want to take these ones. These are the ones that I want to take out and put over in the tree garden bed. So these were planted in, she planted a bunch of things in here. I think they're like, she just planted them. Sad, so sad. Okay, so we have peppers here, the leftover cucumbers here. These are mainly the larger cucumbers and not pickling cucumbers. Most of the pickling cucumbers, which were in there, we have taken out because of this. Anyhow, there's lots of cucumbers I need to pick. So we're gonna have to do another batch of pickles, which I'm not complaining. We will do pickles tomorrow and that will work out just fine. Kids know how to do pickles too, so that will work. So they planted in here. Here's some onions in here, which look horrible. More cucumbers in there that we can pick. I do see a couple green peppers that we can pick. So yeah, she planted, so this is like for our fall stuff. So these are all like brassicas in these beds here are all brassicas. Little peppers in there. So she also has planted, you can see down there, she planted that cabbage there. We're starting to plant cabbage in this row. And those are the brassicas. And some peppers. We actually are doing okay with peppers this year. I usually struggle really bad with peppers. And we're getting enough to make our bread and butter pickles, which is nice. Because I hate buying peppers at the store for bread and butter pickles. And then some of this looks edible. This is, I don't know if this is Swiss chard. I think it's Swiss chard. Yeah, I think so. I thought at first it was spinach, but I think it's Swiss chard. And then we planted some beans along the back here. And then this is my whole squashy area. So then she planted along these two beds as well. She planted brassicas in there. I am not walking through there because the plants are all wet and then I'll get like itchy all over my legs. I'm gonna cut through here. There are some cucumbers on that too. Okay. So yeah, got some cucumbers going on. So yeah, I think we're gonna need to pick the cucumbers. We will do that. This is in my way. This is a delicata going a little crazy here. We just keep pulling the plants one way or the other, so hopefully they don't like come all the way through. I'll have my daughter look in here too to see if there's any delicatas or if there's any zucchinis. I have been loving, I do this all the time. I love taking zucchini or summer squash or both. I've been doing like delicatas and zucchini, because that's what we have. Chopping them up with an onion, sauteing them, or onion and pepper, sauteing them in a frying pan, throwing some cheese on top. Yum. You can even throw that into like a tortilla wrap. Yummy, yummy. Well, hello zucchini. Yes, we have a zucchini there. I'm trying to see. Yes, I'm grunting like an old lady. Y'all heard it from me. Okay, yesterday, I got some tomatoes over there. Yesterday, we actually did the beans here, and then the beans on the other side over there. So it looks like those are good and should be good for the whole time. I think it's better if it's raw. So we're gonna pick those tomorrow morning. They're working on stuff, and it's not best to pick cucumbers right after they've been watered, or tomatoes. They get kind of watery. I know it sounds weird, but they do. There was a delicata in here, so my daughter's gonna look through those as well. I'm sort of getting rained on, sort of not. Might be able to pick some beans, because I do see some in here. I do see some. All right, it's kind of raining on us. It's not too hard because it's just these. My daughter said she will pick tomorrow the green beans and the tomatoes and cucumbers. We probably could do something with the leeks, but I think we're gonna just wait until we come back. Yeah. These are not getting wet back here. We'll have to come back and check. Anyway, this is what it looks like so far. And I'm getting rained on. It actually doesn't feel bad because it's been so hot out. Yeah. The watering system, I can't decide if I like it or not. I know that sounds horrible. Spent a lot of money on it. Let's go out. So, spent a lot of money on the watering system, but I'm not 100% loving it. I'm really not. We did have some issues with it, so we had to kind of like configure it a little bit differently, because I couldn't put as many along the top as it calls for. And I don't know if we can like maybe work on that like during the fall and see if we can change it so we can put some additional ones. I'm just not quite sure. Or if we can, they do overlap quite a bit in the middle. Maybe we can move the whole pipe towards the edge on that left side a little bit, and that might be a little bit better. I'm honestly not quite sure what I'm going to do or how it's going to be. It works for now. Nothing's like dying because of that. So we shall see. Oh my goodness. I have this massive tomato plant. Let's see what a tomato plant would look like if you let it go crazy. I'll show you. Yeah. Alrighty, I think I need to get some people up early tomorrow, because this needs to get weeded. My oldest daughter just said that she would work on that issue, collecting all the things. You're right here. Okay. Some of this can get picked as well. That's a lemon mint, I think it is. So these are not ready yet. Most stuff are not ready yet, but they're starting to come along. This is our outside garden. These are zucchinis, and they're starting to flower, which is exciting, because hopefully just as the other ones leave, these ones will come on. Would you like this raspberry? Are you trying to find one? No, that one wasn't ready. You're right. Good job.
I'm going to find another one.
You want to find another one? Okay. So there's some zinnias here at the end. This obviously needs to get weeded. This is, I think, acorn squash. I think she weeded here today. Here's another one. So we have some more leeks in this bed and some carrots. Do you see it? Look.
One.
Is it ripe?
Yeah.
Yep. Some Swiss chard and beets and squash here. And then these are coming along. These are actually the cucumbers that I had her plant. I'm actually really happy to see this. Yeah, I'm really happy to see this here because I was hoping to get another batch of cucumbers out here. So it is a good thing to see these here. Potatoes here, potatoes over there. What are you finding? Raspberries. Good job. So yeah, it's the garden here. Okay guys, I have a question for you. I thought I planted dahlias in these corner pockets. Is this a dahlia? I don't know. I only know what they look like when they flower, and they're beautiful. And I see this and I see that one over there. Let me know down in the comments below because I haven't a clue about flowers. Okay, so I shared this with you before about my 4 plants that I put here. So I think what I want to do at the end of this season is to, they're going to get a bowl because some of these are ready here. They're gorgeous. I want to cut these way back and try to transplant some of this section along the outside of this fence here. So we would obviously weed eat this, dig out a bed. On the other side of that, I have my strawberries. So I think if I put the raspberries here, that the strawberries would still be okay, but I'd have that whole like planting section for raspberries. So my 14-year-old has actually been doing fairly good in here. Blueberries, sunflowers are growing. Sunflowers are growing. Blueberries, strawberries, squash. This comfrey can be cut back again. We're gonna cut that back and give it to the cows. So there was last night some type of rodent that was like coming in here. Got some blueberries there and some blueberries over there. Really, they'll just pick them and then eat them. And then these are Jerusalem artichokes. But I like them because see how big they look? It kind of like makes a buffer between the road and us. So eventually I might actually go along that way. And then over here we have, potatoes and then some squash there. So here we're in the tree garden and I will just show you what we have going on and kind of like the plans and what we planted and what is going to get planted from where we just pulled up that tree here. And this one here I actually grew the first year that I was, were my first trees, I guess. Under here we have the potatoes still. They've already flowered. Ugh. Let me show you. Already flowered, looking good. So here's strawberries. This bed was just planted. That bed was just planted. I just shared that with you on my notebook. And then we have these 2 beds are strawberries. This is, I believe, I don't know if this one has done anything yet. So there are some pumpkins growing along here, which I think is a good idea. Seem to be okay. See the, I think those are kohlrabies there. This is the peach tree that looks really sad. It was huge one year and then it had tons of peaches and the peaches all dropped off. I think what I'm gonna do is be super aggressive with this tree and see where that takes me come fall. This tree, I think that this one I might actually take down. It's really close to this tree and that tree. And I don't believe I have ever, well, for one, I think it's a standard when it was marked as a pear tree. It was marked as just a dwarf pear tree, but I think it's a standard. It looks standard. So I think that I might cut that one down. Has not fruited as of yet. That one there, I actually got some apples off of last year. My peach tree is just kind of like sad. Anyway, I think I'm gonna cut a bunch of this off and see where we go with that. Let me figure out a way to get around. I'll take you over here. We're back by the potatoes again. Well, I guess we got a couple. These are all the pears that we have on that massive tree. I just don't know. I need to make more space for the trees that do really well. And I think that I might just take that tree down. Anyway. Some strawberries. Obviously, we can fill in some spaces of strawberries here. Last year, this tree did fairly well. So I'm thinking if we cut that pear tree over there, that this one might just do well. This was actually a weird, like, little twiggy type tree that I planted. I don't know, it was on like Bargain something. And it's actually starting to produce this year, and I'm okay with this because the spacing is okay. This is a pear tree that actually is producing fairly well. For us anyway. And another apple tree. This one has little pears on it too. So these two, this one and this one, both have pears on them. So pear and pear. Those are doing okay. Look at my pathetic. Okay, this is my pathetic cherry tree. Probably, I'm gonna cut that way back. That pawpaw, I'm probably gonna get out of here. But see, like everything here, there's like tons of space now. That apple tree, I am not quite sure what I want to do. I think what I might do is try to shove, there's like a Y. We put like a Y right there to try to hold the tree. Or is that maybe that's not a Y. I don't know. This situation here, this is one tree and then another tree. That situation needs to be taken care of, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. So then I have this pear tree and then this apple tree, which did well last year as well and has apples on it now. And then this apple tree did fairly well as well. So I'm not sure. And then you can see the peach tree here. I shouldn't have planted. You know, rookie mistake. I planted them too close together. And that's my issue now, is that I planted them close together and now I'm having troubles. So trying to make those decisions as far as what I want to keep and what needs to go, but also figuring out where I want to future plant things. Another strawberry bed here. There's the trees. They just planted that bed there as well. This is like an apricot tree. We've never gotten anything off of it, but I started it as like a cheap slip. These, when the pawpaw trees fell over, I tried to replant them over here, and obviously that did not work. And then over there I have asparagus, which this is the first year that we actually started to get any asparagus at all. So my goal for this side is to have asparagus all the way down to the corner. We used to have bees like at the corner, but I'd love if I could do like asparagus all the way down to the corner. That'd be great. And then potentially on the other side of this fence, I could even do berries like all along the side of the fence. I don't know. We get deer and moose out in that field there. That's not our field, it's our neighbor's field. But we get deer and moose out there. We have some elderberries. Should have already covered these over. Bunch over there. I'll see if my daughter can cover these over the next couple days. And then these are the brassicas that I was telling you about that we already had. So all those are good. This bed right here has little cucumbers in it. And then those two just got planted there. Something was trying to eat the little cucumbers out, so my daughter covered it. This is our crazy comfrey. Okay, guys, and then she just planted all of these in beans and beets, and these are all the grapes. Let's start to see them on there. I'll go under there in just a minute. So this section from here over to the fence over there, which is the sheep fence, we can do something with, right? So I'm thinking that we want to maybe expand the garden that we have here. There's already fence along the back there. So I thought that maybe I could take the fence that's right here in front and maybe run it along that way towards the sheep pen. And then this section, it's really rocky here, really rocky in this section, but I think it would be okay. I'll talk with you. I think it would be okay if we did trees. So next spring, I think I'm gonna focus on trees there. I'm going to go underneath this. Isn't it so pretty? I don't know, there's something beautiful about that. Anyway, so I think I'd like to do more trees over there. If I can get appropriate trees, I'll probably order them in. I was really pleased when I ordered in through Stark Brothers, so I think I'll probably do that again. Okay, I'm about done. That is where we're at. We'll pick some things tomorrow. I think that we might I might have enough to do one batch of salsa, which is kind of cool because I need some salsa. Might have enough to do a batch of salsa. I need to come out here. I'm trying to see if the fence is on. Nope, not on. I didn't get electrocuted. So apparently they intertwined that fence to that gate, which I didn't realize. So I need to go back out the other way. Okay. Anyhow, it's all coming along. It will all work out. Ta-da! Yeah, I have potatoes over this side as well. Two like side-by-side things of potatoes. So I think that's what I am thinking. If you guys have thoughts and you actually like had a small orchard, give me your thoughts and your opinions. I eventually would like to see this all working together, and I'm not quite sure how to accomplish that. I also cannot get a lot of resources that work well with permaculture, like wood chips and those types of things. So yeah, give me your best thoughts. I hope y'all have a blessed day.